group.
Yeah, I just I do a live YouTube show every single day to crypto lifers. Yeah, and I'm 40 years old. You're 37. To see someone of your age, taking, what you think people that have been to what makes us confused is people go to Penn State, they get these degrees, right? They go to Yale, they go to Harvard, but yet they don't want to talk about the Federal Reserve. And then I come from self-taught, just researching financial history, and I can see the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
Why is the traditional educational system almost like curtailed from talking about the true facts? And how did you get to this renaissance, rebirth? Like, how did you break through? Well,
I think that part of it is, Harvard is steeped in Keynesianism, and that's what you learn. But part of having a contrarian spirit is you actually want to rebel against the things you learn a little bit too. So it's not that different than most of human history, right? When you have one orthodoxy, stand up to the system. Mm-hmm. It takes a new generation of the hippies of our time, right? You go check out the people who were protesting for free speech in the 1960s or against the Vietnam War in the 70s. That's us today protesting against the orthodoxy of the Federal Reserve that's as oppressive as it is through its current mechanisms today. So I think it's not that different, and I'm pretty optimistic that we've worked our way out of prior orthodoxies before. Mm-hmm. Now's our moment to work our way out of the orthodoxy of the dual mandate Federal Reserve as well.
One last quick question, and then everyone can jump in. I've been talking about running for president 2032, right? My name's Sam Price, and I've thought about the blockchain party, all right?
Okay.
Why can't we put everything on the blockchain? I want to see the budgets, like all that equipment in Afghanistan. Like, people up in arms, like, where's our money? Like, how do you just say, oh, we're just going to leave things here, and like, where is the money going? We want to know where the tax dollars are going. Like, people will be more apt to pay taxes. The IRS wouldn't have to expand to the point if we actually were more transparent.
Yeah, that's the word I use. I mean, maybe we're saying similar things in different ways. Transparency, accountability in government. Here, how about this one? The people who we elect to run the government, they're not even the ones who will run the government today. So part of the reason you don't have transparency is you don't even have transparency about who's actually running the government, let alone the transparency of the actual facts. And so I think the fourth branch of government is unconstitutional. I think we need to go back to three branches of government: executive, legislative, and judicial.
Amen.
Dismantle the administrative state, and that's the main obstacle to transparency. And so on the 2024 version of this, which is what I'm running for, maybe we'll pass the baton to you in 2032.
Yeah. Maybe I could run with you. You never know.
Life is long.
Ramaswamy Price sounds pretty good.
But I appreciate your spirit, and I think that a lot of things we're saying are similar, but we're saying them in different ways. And so I appreciate that. You keep at it, and I agree. You don't need some fancy degree to be able to know what's true.
God bless you for everything you're doing, man. Thank you so much.
Thank
you. You too. Have a great day. We just got the interview with Vivek. It was amazing. I like what he's saying. And politicians don't have to say 100% of what you're saying, but when they're actually leading a change, we're changing a paradigm here. He's the first person actually talking to these facts that really, really can push us into a new generation of an economy. Another good thing that he brought up, something that I hear Meet Kevin talk about too, is we expand the GDP and we can actually begin to chip away at the debt. We can actually balance the debt off if we continue to produce. Federal Reserve likes to create unemployment by trying to get us down to 2%. I've been running, and I'm going to continue to run on this idea that they will never get to 2%. I've been telling you this for 5 years. I have been studying this since 2009. I was telling family and friends that there was inflation going to be coming rampant, and you're going to see them print the money to zero. They're going to continue to print the U.S. dollar to zero if we don't back it to some type of basket of commodities or currencies that gives it a substantial, less volatility behavior. 97% of the dollar has lost its purchasing power in the last, 60 to 70 years, and it's gotten worse in the last 5 to 10 years. They've printed, I believe, half of the money supply in the last 4 to 5 years. And it's only getting worse. It's very similar to a cut that just keeps bleeding. More blood keeps coming out. It gets worse and worse. Every time they print more money to solve a situation, they have to print more money to solve another situation because it devalues the currency that first time they print. Printing. This is why I love Bitcoin. This is why it halves every 4 years. This is the idea here. So I like how we're wrapping in Bitcoin into the strength of the US dollar. And that competition, as he said, competition always makes it better. There's two stores out there. One gives or two pizza shops. One gives okay pizza. One just steps up their game and starts making a high-end product. It makes the other pizza shops in the area have to actually do more for their customers, right? So when you see competition between the dollar and Bitcoin, that's starting to create that feeling that the dollar could get more powerful, and stay sustainable. I like how he also stayed true to the U.S. dollar, being, he wants to run for the U.S. presidency. Does he have a really big chance? I want to ask you, what do you think in the comment section below? Can he win the Republican nominee? Would he ever run with Trump? These are some hard questions I did want to ask, but, I wanted to be kind and get just a few of my questions in there and move from there. But you're here with Sam Price, CryptoLifer.com, CryptoLifer on YouTube, and we're going to have this interview out for you and more as I continue to travel the country and talk about these foundations of our economy and how we're going to change the economic cycles in which we've been living in for the last 20 to 100 years. The Federal Reserve came out, the IRS came out, but what are they doing for you? You know what I mean? We want more transparency. We want to see where our tax dollars are going. That's something that I'm really fighting for. Blockchain Party 2032. You heard it here first. I'll see you on the next video.